All right.
Started as a whisper, message from a new world I'd never known. Something about it felt like it'd been waiting my whole life. Is this home? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel late when I start to sing, and suddenly it feels like I'm in the away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? Panic, 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 tell me, can you hear the symphony? I can't help but think that it's meant to be, that I'm finally right where I'm supposed to. If I let you into the secret, would you listen? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing, and suddenly it feels like heaven is the soul for Tell me, can you hear the symphony? Panic, 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 tell me, can you hear the symphony? And before too long, I found where I belong. I can hear it, oh, I can't stop the rush. Every note I touch, I can feel it saving me. Tell me, can you hear the symphony?
Hello, and welcome to episode 25 of Pixel Focus Podcast, providing insights and updates in the world of virtual photography at your fingertips. This is episode is another Pixel Focus Pixel Perspective, which focuses on particular topics which we chose during the week. And today's topic is virtual photography and indie games. We got two amazing guests today, which we'll introduce in a bit. Thanks everyone for listening into the show live or later. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm in Seven Specters, and with me as always, my co-host, Son OG. Son, would you rather be cold or hot?
Well, at the time right now, freaking cold, dude. It's been hot across the globe, bro. Like, people are struggling, my guy. Yeah. No. Yeah, I'd rather be cold. I'd definitely rather be cold. Granted, I used to live up north. So, it was definitely much chillier up there, like Michigan area. And some of like Northern Virginia, it would get a little cooler and everything like that. But I'm in North Carolina now, so it is hot, humid, and sticky, and I hate it. How about you?
I think cold. Rather be cold.
Yep.
Even though I was raised in the South, I was born in the Philippines, so I should be acclimated to it. But no, I don't mind bundling up versus sweating.
Yeah, cause dude, like when you're sitting there in the hot heat, you gotta take more clothes off to get cool, and you can't. There's only so many clothes you can take off without things starting to get weird. So, I think cold might be better because you could just keep putting stuff on. Oh
All
man.
right. Well, that was a fun little stint there. So, what do we have for news?
All right. So, news for today. We actually don't have too much today. We really only have like one thing for the most part. Um, PlayStation is hosting a VP PSN share for you guys. It is involving the new released game Flintlock Siege of Dawn. This is a game that a lot of people within the community recently have started to take shots in.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely say if you would like to participate in that, it may be a pretty good opportunity for you to be able to get seen by PlayStation themselves. And yeah, go ahead and um, use their hashtag PSNshare or hashtag PSblog, or use both as well. You do have to submit your shots by July 24th, 2024, not July 24th, 2025, because that would probably be too late. Oh yeah.
So 4 days when you're listening to this episode.
Correctamundo, my guy. And I do want to just give a little shout out real quick. As we go as well. We are actually going to go ahead and introduce our guests, considering the news session for the most part is over. I want to first introduce one of our guests, Ria, who actually is the host of hashtag Tenac Thursday, His Saturday, and also Saga Sunday, which, by the way, for all of those who may not know, Saga Sunday is a new one. She is hosting that for the game Alan Wake. She is also a. Oh wait, hold on. I have something going on in the background. My apologies.
But wait, there's more.
Oh wait. Okay, we're good. All good. But she is also the creator of the blog Gaming Lore, which is a blog that consists of analyzing what goes into the creating of lore in video games, which she actually did just have a recent interview with the CEO of Kyokan Interactive, which they actually create or published at least the game Deliver Us Home and Deliver Us Mars as well, I believe. So that was pretty cool. So we'll get into a little bit of a discussion on that later. And then our second guest, we have Kath. Kath is admin of VP Retweet, creator of Black and White VP page VP and BW, and also host of Friday Virtual Horror Show, a page dedicated to showcasing horror virtual photography. It's pretty cool.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, we actually I don't think we've ever talked about anything like that before, so that's
No,
pretty
we
dope.
have not. So there you go.
And then Kath is followed also by Kyokan Interactive and also Fallen Leaf SA, the creators of the Fort Solace game. So
Mm.
without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in our guests, Kath and Ria. How are y'all doing today?
Hello.
Hello.
It's hot.
Yeah, you'd probably rather be cold
Hello.
too.
Hello. I second what Kath said. It's very hot.
Yeah, yeah, you both would probably rather be cold in that instance. Yeah.
Yeah,
How hot is
pretty
it
much.
where how hot is it where you guys are?
Oh God, I think now it's 35 degrees Celsius.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, that's rough.
Yep.
Yeah, especially when your AC is broken.
Oh no.
Yikes. Jeez.
I've lived through that. That's not fun.
No.
Yeah. Oh, hey, can you hear us?
Hmm?
Kath?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, making sure. And how hot is it where you are, Kath?
Oh, we are blessed with 30
Oh.
because since last Friday, not this one, but last one, we have plus 40
Oh.
without,
Ooh.
yeah, without ACs, without electricity. It was madness.
Oh my
So, yeah.
God. And for all of our American viewers out there, 30 to 40 ranges from about 86 Fahrenheit to a little over
No, no, no,
100.
no. No, no, no. It was showing 99 Fahrenheit for me last
Oh,
week.
no, but I'm
Yep.
saying for 30 to 40 because that was
Oh,
about
yeah.
the range for what you guys are talking about. 30 to 40 degrees Celsius is a range of about 86 to 100 something degrees.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're suffering over there in Europe too right now.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we are real the beat here.
Yeah, they getting the heat. But it's not as hot as the pictures that y'all have been doing lately of these indie games, and that's actually what we're about to discuss today, which is indie games and virtual photography, the relationship between the two. So, to start that out, I just want to go ahead and ask y'all, what are some of your favorite games to shoot in when it comes to any indie games versus some of these AAA titles? And we'll go ahead and start with Kath real quick.
Oh, indie games.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. Fort Solis, obviously.
Right.
If well, for me, because I'm PC player and we have access to tools, we can do more than console players, for
Right.
example. So for me, it's a bit easier to take shots in the games that I like, even
Mm,
if they doesn't have photo modes. Yeah, but um, I don't know even what I was like lately. Like it, yeah, as I said, it was Fort Solis. I enjoy to take pictures in American Arcadia.
mm-hmm.
Uh, it's also in the game, and they're really amazing small company, and I love them. And I will not spell their name right now because I wasn't prepared for that.
It's all good.
But I quickly do a small research and I'll tell you a name. And it's Out of the Blue Games. If you never heard about the studio, I would recommend it them because they every time experimenting with their style from the Lovecraftian games like Call of the Sea to kind of Truman Show like game, which is American Arcadia, and now they are going more into visual novel detective, like noir detective with Vigilante Diaries. That will be released this year later, and yeah, that they're really amazing in what they're doing.
Awesome.
Um,
Awesome. That's what's up. All right.
what
So yeah,
else?
those are some pretty dope titles that I'm sure a lot of people probably haven't heard. And yeah, you guys should definitely go ahead and check those out. And Ria, how about you? What are some of your favorite games to take for indie games for shot?
So for me, the
Mm-hmm.
first one I've taken shots of was actually Deliver Us the Moon.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that one does not have a photo mode as of yet. So it was pretty
Oh,
interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
so you're just
It was
kind of
actually,
doing it raw.
Yeah, it was actually the first time I tried to take shots in a game that didn't have photo mode, so the first couple of tries came a bit more blurry than I liked, but I managed to find a way to make it work.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I actually posted those on Twitter a little while back, and I have to thank that game because that actually got me both to try Deliver Us Home, the prototype demo, because Kyokan kindly provided me access to that one to take some shots in that game as well.
Right.
And as well, I joined recently the Wired Creator Circle.
Mhm.
So I look forward to trying more games from Wired Productions. I already have kind of eyed one in particular, which is Martha is Dead.
Hmm.
I will recommend it. I mean, what?
Oh, is it? You tried it already?
Yes, I was playing it when it was released. Same
Oh,
for Kyo,
sweet.
same for Kyoken Games that was delivered as Mars. When it doesn't have a photo mode or something, I was just like followed by
Mhm.
story, and I really love it.
Yo,
But
that's what's up.
but
Okay.
I just need to warn you, Ria, if you are not fan of horror games or just like psychological horror games, please don't touch it. Even though they really have amazing mechanic when you need to make your own photos, but basically you need to print them. But that game made me like I was a bit tense when the story ended.
Mm.
Oh, just a small warning.
So it's not
But yeah, no,
I
necessarily
it's
think
really
jump
good.
scares. It's just more, as you said, psychological, if
It's
anything.
not a jump. It's not
Okay.
about jump scares. It's just about atmosphere. And
Okay.
if you're digging into the story, and if you are bringing stuff from below to the surface, you're just
Mhm.
like, oh fucking shit, what's going on here? It was like
Actually. Oh, wait, no, go
it was yeah. Yeah, it's just like it was the same if you ever tried Bluebird's game Medium. That was the same. Like, yeah,
Mm.
there was a scary game. They was trying to scare you with like a monster. So just like you jump in between two worlds, and that was not scary. The scary was what was under. It was
Yeah.
like, I'm a fucking crap.
And the and with Martha's Dead being a horror indie game, how do you feel about that and considering the fact that you are the, one of the hosts for the virtual horror showcase?
Uh, I don't remember who was recommending this game to me,
Hmm.
but um, for me it was very interesting experience of this game because I uh, also played on release or just like months after it was released. It it was like for me it was literally a 3D experience or 5D experience or whatever because I started to play game when war started.
Oh, yeah, and
Yeah,
just
and
for background, you
yeah,
you are from Ukraine, right?
yes,
Yeah, so
and
that's what you're talking about.
Marta is also going in the war
Hmm.
years, basically in the Second World War
Hmm.
from Italy side,
Hmm.
and it's a bit different,
Right,
different
right, right,
experience than us might
right.
have. But
Yeah.
I I don't know. I was expecting a lot of jump scares. No, they was trying to scare you. Yes, they bring some monsters or just like the ghostly stuff or just like
Yeah.
atmosphere being very tense and you are waiting for something to happen. And I was like, come on, you're supposed to scare me. Come on. They're not scaring me. And I was like,
Yeah.
disappointment. But for me, it's disappointment because it's because as I said, I'm just horror person. I love horror games. So for me, sometimes they are not that scary, like with the jump scares or something. It's just like the story itself, maybe more horrible if you're thinking about it.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, so for all of you horror fans out there, definitely check out Martha's Dead. What is the studio again that created that? That was Wire Productions?
Well, production is
Um,
the publisher.
Okay, that's the
yeah.
The
publisher.
studio
Do
is
we know
actually
who?
Italian.
Say it again. Sorry.
Yeah, the studio is actually Italian, if I remember correctly. I think the
Okay.
developer is called LKA.
LKA. Okay, so yeah, for all of you guys who might want to go ahead and check that out, definitely go and look at Martha's Dead. Again, for you horror fans, not for anybody who doesn't really care for that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but no, that's an awesome little bit of a insight on the horror aspect of indie. Now, we want to shift a little bit towards the kind of relationship of indie games and virtual photography. So I'm gonna bring this one over to Ria. So considering how we have seen and talked about even in this show, Wire Productions starting to reach out to virtual photographers and everything like that, I do believe we're seeing a bit of a bond starting to be had through indie game companies and the virtual photography community itself. Um, we have also seen the likes of the creators of the store, um, which also that is another horror film or horror game. So yeah, I would say, that one's good too. But we have seen them also reach out to a lot of virtual photographers as well. Uh, so with that being said, how are you seeing the relationship between maybe indie game devs and or just publishers or anything like that and the virtual photography scene?
I was actually talking about it during my interview with Paul from Kyokin,
Hmm.
and he was making a very good point, which I think kind of summarizes my view on it. Virtual photography is a very good way to sort of, market the game and kind of start bringing the game to majority of, gamers' attention, especially for indie companies, because, the marketing is not going to be on the same level of, say,
Hmm.
Ubisoft, EA, just the approach and the base of players that can already be there is
Hmm.
different. I do think that we might see more and more production companies and developers approach virtual photographers to collaborate, because at the
Right.
end of the day, virtual photography is kind of a way to transmit emotions. And if you find a way to capture exactly in a few shots what you want your game to represent, I
Hmm.
definitely think that is a very effective way to communicate messages.
Okay. Yeah. So so you're seeing a pretty positive response between the two so far?
Yeah, I think so. I think the more and more I see, you know, the the production companies and developers open to the world of virtual photography, the more I appreciate, that we start to get recognized as content creators or whatever you may want to call it. So I definitely see an improvement each year that goes by.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and we have mentioned plenty of times the kind of mass collecting of creators for Wired Productions. Um, that was huge. So to maybe see eventually, like, some more indie companies reach out in maybe not the same exact manner to that degree, but just kind of starting to reach out to VPers to see maybe if they might would like to be in their creator program if they have one, right? That might be something pretty cool to see, you think?
Absolutely, I think so. Because at the end of the day, especially with virtual photographers tend to be very attached to certain games and certain companies at the end of the day.
Right.
I think majority of us, when we like a game, we tend to go back to taking shots in it. So I think it's
Yep.
definitely a very good approach. Yes.
And in 7, I do believe we have a question in the chat
Yep.
by Turret.
Yep. So, question for both our guests, Kath and Ria. When indie games come with a PM or photo mode that's very difficult to use or does not have a good options, are you still happy to have a photo mode, or would you prefer there was a good one or none?
And we'll start with Kath.
This is a really good question because even now, on Steam Fest, like latest Summer Fest, there was a lot of demos of the games that I was trying from indie companies, and I need to say that quite a few of them come in with a photo mode that is how some people will be say, oh, that's usual, it's not very good or something. It's good. It's fucking good. Even if it's like not implemented as a photo mode, but like in game mechanic when you need to find the phone and then take a picture of your kitsy. Yes, little kitsy, big city. I'm talking about you. Mhm. And when you need to take a pictures with it, I actually was so happy to do a simple shots with that one and try my best to use it without adding some tools.
Mhm.
Even though, yeah, I could do that, but no, I was so happy to just like be in the game, use that phone or something. There is some new games that I'll be looking for, like how it goes, the Farewell North. It's the same company that I think was making the is a Spirit of North or Ember something, and they brought a simple photo mode, but it's still really good because you can capture your journey with Wolf uh, in the Scotland hills, and it's amazing. The other game that also I didn't expect that there will be a photo mode.
Yeah.
I bet yes, I was sending you a picture from it. G. It's called Fading Skies, and yeah, the photo mode is simple, but I was also really enjoying to use it because the camera range was amazing. Yeah, it was orbital. You can just like, that's the problem with us, with people who are virtual photographer, because people who are shooting only big games, they are expecting from the small games that they will have the same arsenal like big photo
Right.
modes have, like three
But the
lights.
budget isn't really there all the time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, like three
Yeah.
lights or a character. I can switch them, whatever, like emotions, blah blah blah. No, the small companies they not doing that, but the thing that they implementing in their games, like if you are not caught by the game itself, maybe your photo mode will be able to do that. And they actually, I think it's my opinion, I might be wrong, but sometimes it feels like if they are not really sure that their game will be good, they add in photo mode. But
Okay.
they are wrong because usually usually the game is really good,
Right.
or it might be having like some interesting art style that you will be wanting to capture,
Yeah.
or maybe it will be interesting story that you wanted to capture, and adding even a simple photo mode, it will be just a, I don't know, blessed from
Yeah.
heaven.
Yeah, because it might match your style or what have you when it comes to you as a virtual photographer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
So when you say
actually,
simple photo mode, being someone who doesn't take a lot of shots, what do you define simple photo mode? Like, what are the options that you consider simple compared to like Spider-Man, who has like 3-point lighting system and all that?
let's, I mean, can we consider it like as a simple one
Can you
or
repeat
not?
that? Sorry.
I'm just thinking out loud if we can consider the flint like photo mode as a simple one. No, okay, let's
Oh,
go for a little kitty big city. The
okay.
simple one that they have, like they have POV,
Mhm.
they have DOF,
Okay.
they have, I don't think that they have filters, but okay, let's have it. They have filters, they have brightness, contrast, and that's all basically. That's a simple one. Like
Okay.
Okay.
Got you.
simple one.
Got you. So it's pretty limited in regards to how many features it has and everything like that. It would be more so just like, the basic camera tools of being able to move the camera, maybe change like maybe a frame or something, and then maybe like FOV, which field of view
Yeah,
for those who may not know.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. And actually with a simple one, what's your advice to someone who may not be used to using that kind of photo mode?
Be creative.
All right.
Be creative. That this is only thing that I can say. Because if you can do something like specific, or that you have, sometimes you have a picture in your mind, but you are just literally put on to labels and being framed yourself because you
Hmm.
doesn't have a lot of options. It's okay if you want to do a picture, but it's quite dark, for example. I don't know. Try to find the light source,
Right.
or just like I wait for sun to come. Yeah, I know it's a problematic sometimes to wait a lot, because the weather in game change very differently, and you can do anything. But yeah, the creative shots is cool.
All
Rio,
right.
what
So
about you? What do you think?
Yeah. What's your
So,
hmm but
so for me, I would say, in regards to the question Tori was asking, I would say that I would be happy if there was a photo mode, just because the quality of the shots compared to like not having a photo mode and having to still take a photo, of course the quality is going to be better. But I still wouldn't go for something too difficult to use or that has like too many weird options. Firstly, because I think the budget that you would need to dedicate to that for an indie game would be a bit excessive in
mhm,
terms of proportions. Compared to development, putting that much into photo mode could not even be necessary.
right.
And also, I think it's good to appreciate that like people that take shots in games uh,
Hmm.
are of all levels of difficulty in terms of like experience in doing virtual photography. So
Right.
if you have a photo mode that is pretty standard without anything too basic or too complicated, like a middle level, I think in that case majority of people will be happy, because like people that are just starting out doing virtual photography will still manage to figure out the basics,
Hmm.
and people that have been doing virtual photographies to like from into like a bit of experience all the way to experts, they can always integrate what they can't do in photo mode in post editing. So I think that is the ideal.
So for I'm gonna actually ask you this question too. What's your advice to someone who may not be used to some of the more simple photo modes that might be in indie games, considering their budget?
So you say if they are just used to how the big titles have all this
Hmm.
different kind of personalization.
Hmm.
Well, everything that you can do with literally your phone, if you were taking a photo, even in the real world, out and about, it, a lot of people try to already play with the lights and the colors. So pretty much it's kind of that, but translated to a camera. So just try different things out, familiarize yourself. I know there's some things like POV, someone might not know what it is because they are new to video games or to VP or anything. So, just like figure out what you can. You can always ask someone that has more experience if you have any doubt. I mean, I did that when I started.
Hmm.
And just try things out. At the end of the day, I think that the reason everybody has their own style is because they started knowing basically nothing and just try to work their way to doing things the way they like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You kind of gotta mold it just a little bit so that it ends up working for what you want to put out there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, solid answers. Solid answers to a solid question. Like it. All right. And seven, did you want to go ahead and ask anything in particular?
Not at the current time, but anyone who's listening, feel free to post questions. We will definitely be reading those out and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, for sure, for sure. All right. Well, we're gonna move on forward. So, I actually wanted to ask, Ria, considering we actually spoke earlier that you did have your interview, on your blog that you created, Gaming Lore. So with that interview, um, are there any other insights that you kind of gathered? I know you mentioned something earlier regarding it, but were there any other insights that you kind of gathered just from, you know, the indie devs themselves and, what they kind of go through when it comes to creating the game?
Yeah, I wasn't too familiar with the game developing side in general, be it
Mm,
indie or mainstream, but I kind of always imagine, bigger companies to, have very um strict rules of like everyone was devoted to do a specific thing. So, it was a very big machine, if you want to say that.
mm-hmm.
It was interesting to see how everyone from, what Paul was telling me, from how everyone is kind of trying to complement each other work, and there's not a fixed role. You adapt to the different situations, and I think that was very fascinating because as well you get to see parts of, everyone in the team gets to see part of game development that if you were in
Mm-hmm.
a bigger company you would never really realize like what went into that, because
Right.
it would be a whole different sector.
Yeah. Yeah. So the kind of minuteness of the size is very, very heavy factor, obviously, right? Um, so I guess,
Yeah, I guess.
yeah. Oh, good.
No, sorry, I was about to say,
Oh,
I
you're
I
fine.
guess in a way, I think, if it's not a huge company, you actually, you know, have literally seen every step of the way of the game yourself, instead of like, dealing with your departments and then the project moves on to another section of the development project. You kind of literally see the project being born and then going through
Right.
all the stages of development.
Right. Hmm. Cool.
I do have a
Yeah.
question for both of you. So, there was mention about how virtual photography is sort of like a, if we can use these words, an advertisement of the game for people to, it's like, oh, that's a cool game, let me check it out.
Hmm.
Do you think it is worth for indie developers, since they have limited budgets and all that, to actually have a photo mode, or is it situational? And that goes for both of you.
We'll start with Kath. What you think?
Mm, it's a good advertisement mechanic for them. I wouldn't say it's situational because the games nowadays they are making on Unreal Engine. And give me a second.
Uh, I do believe she said to give her a moment,
Mm-hmm.
so we will go ahead and shift it for now over to Ria.
Yep.
No worries. Yeah, I do think that that is my personal opinion, and it might be biased, being that I do fashion photography. But I do think it's always a good idea to put a photo mode if you can. Like, if it's not going to be too much of an issue that sacrifices all the sides of a game, I would say yes, it's always a good idea to put it. It really doesn't even have to be complex. Even just the very, very basic of putting the zooming feature, or just just the point of view, literally the most basic thing that just takes away the UI, I think would be worth it,
Okay, gotcha.
as long as it
Totally.
doesn't create a problem for the budget elsewhere. And in that case, of course, you need to sacrifice other things. If that is already sorted, I would say definitely go for the photo mode, because it is both kind of a selling point in a game, even though I know that, many games nowadays have photo modes.
Hmm.
It is, in my opinion, still a selling point for a game. Not
Yeah.
a make it or break it selling point, but
Mm-hmm.
still, a good pro feature.
Right. Right. Yeah. It definitely can make it to where you're targeting a demographic that is even growing, as we've mentioned before in previous episodes, because virtual photography, the community itself is growing at a pretty decent pace. Um, so yeah, I would also agree that having a photo mode within the indie game would be worth it. I totally understand what you mean by that, and I agree too. Yeah, that's solid. And we will also hear back from Kath soon. She did say that she will be right back, so we'll be good on that. She's all okay. So if anybody was worried, she's all right. Um, oh, I thought I might have seen. Hold on. I do believe. Wait, let me see. Do you think more BBs on that shit? Oh, real life. Okay. I do believe that there is a question in the chat by Raider Warrior. So, do you think more VPs, old or new, should learn more about real life photography terms, especially when it comes to indie games, to get a better understanding of what VP could be in the game's future? Or for games in the future, my bad.
Hi, Beck. And I
Oh,
actually I have an
sure.
answer for you.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes. I know two games right now in production that will be all about photography.
Okay.
You heard from the name Lush Foil Photography. It was on Summerfest
And
as a
are these indie
demo.
games as well?
Hmm? Yes,
Are
it
these
is in the
okay?
game.
Awesome.
It's a game made from one dev, and
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
it's related on his memory, his and his wife memories of their travel.
Oh
So
wow.
it's very amazing, and you actually need to use the lenses, use the aperture, all the photographer terms, blah blah blah. So
Yeah,
basically, different cameras, drones cameras, how
I think I heard about
to
that
use.
actually.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and the other game that I was a play tester, a beta tester, and I was helping them. That's also from
Oh,
developers from Magnetic Games. It will be called Virtual Photographer Simulator.
you
It's
said it's
also
gonna be
really
virtual photographers. What again? Sorry.
Virtual Photographer Simulator.
Oh
It's
wow. Okay.
yeah, it is also a game about you making a photo. You have some small assignment like you
Mhm.
need to take a picture of, and you have a kind of weird but like a rating system. So basically, if you're just like taking picture of a dog and you're like, oh, I'm an artist. I see like that. And it will be not counting as a good one, because like you have a bad lighting for game thinking. I don't know why, but sometimes yes, it is like that. And that there's like you need to get the picture of the dog from the specific angle, specific field of view, etc., to get like a higher rank. But it's really teaching you how to use the camera. So you learn how to use the camera in game, and these two games, I hope they will help people to be familiar with the terms, with the technique, with the cameras, with the lenses, etc., for basically for what they need.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and
yeah.
okay, awesome, and that actually kind of calls back to a couple of episodes, because I mean on our last episode, in 7, I think we did mention a couple of things about, virtual photographers starting to learn a bit more on the terms of photography, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that and then also Pinkin's episode 2, when he went to go on to be a part of the Rockstar team, he had mentioned the
Mhm.
same. So yeah, honestly, it's almost like what I remember a while back, there was this game, I think it was called First to Fight, and it was a um Marine Corps like simulator of, them going through different ops and everything like that. Um, and they used that to help the Marines, um, you know, when it comes to understanding like, the different tactics and strategies that they will be using when they're actually out on the field, right? Um, I kind of almost see this as a similar thing where it's like, okay, maybe if you want to, let's say you wanted to end up becoming an official capture artist for a gaming company, these are things that you will need to learn. So this could be, something where maybe you're not necessarily someone who has, all of the facilities to get things for like, in real life photography. It's not that you couldn't do it with your phone or something, but these might be not things that you're, accustomed to. So this game, since you're already accustomed to games, could help you in that area. So I think that would be an awesome, awesome opportunity for anybody who may want to learn these terms and have some practice with them.
It is. Plus, it is actually not the news, but there's like a lot of people who never touched the camera in real life, but they started to do virtual photography, and they started to switch to real life cameras, and how it's now affecting their um, virtual photographer life, let's say, or doing something. Like, for example, I looking on the pictures of Philip, and I see similarity in both of his real life photography and in his virtual photography. Like, I see the angles that he's like, I see the small details that probably people who are not photographers in real life might see, but I just noticed in it, and I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing here, and I was like,
Hmm.
I'm applauding you. So yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah.
it is
Well,
really great.
awesome.
And
And let's go ahead and switch that same question of VPs old and new, if they should learn anything about real life photography regarding terms, uh to Ria. Let's go ahead and see what your thoughts are on that.
I think that at some point they should, meaning that,
Hmm.
I think when you're starting out, the important is you get the concept, because you start kind of figuring out the concepts.
Hmm.
I'm more I didn't study photography. I've always done photography in real life,
Right.
like since I was probably in middle school, but I never like learned it um, more academically. So I would say, my way of seeing it would be you could not start by learning it, but I think if you continue to do photography, it would be beneficial to you and to everyone else as well that you interact with if you're part of the community, to start learning the terms. So I think when you reach a certain point of either passion or expertise, you're gonna want to study more about the terminology and the more technical aspects of photography. Like it's gonna be something that will come natural to you to want to learn more, I think.
Right. Right. Yeah, and honestly, indie games kind of seem more so the the best grounds for this to almost be learned. Because I guess with these bigger companies, a lot of times we experience where we hear, they have a certain budget, they have, a parent company that's very, demanding as to exactly what has to be within the game and what kind of game they have to make, right? Um, but then it almost seems like the indie game companies, considering again they're independent, they have more freedom to kind of, maybe make a game purely based on that, or make a game that uses those kind of things so that, they can have that vision of somebody learning something. Um, Even if it may be in virtual photography, they can learn something. So I think that's pretty dope. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, with smaller companies as well, they can also get a general feedback of what people are enjoying about
Hmm.
already existing, photo modes, and applying it to their own,
Hmm.
just to get as well an idea of what is actually used the most.
Right, right, right. And actually, for both of you guys, I have another question. Unless N7, do you have one?
Yeah, I can ask this one
Yeah, go
now.
ahead.
So, this is for both of you. Knowing who was joining you as a guest partner in on this show was something that you want to ask them. So, Kat, is there something you want to ask Ria and vice versa?
Well, she actually answered because I wanted to ask her if she ever tried to do something in real life, like photography wise, and she's answered.
Um, no, that's a good one. I do photography in real life. I gotta say, my style is very, very different from my actually virtual photography.
Hmm.
Uh, Virtual photography, I tend to go a lot for portraits. I tend to go a lot for black and white, and I tend to play a lot, very much so with lighting. So I might just get only part of the shot illuminated and things like that. When it comes to my um, in real life photography, it is something that I still do in my VP, but not as much. My in real life photography, I tend to do more colorful shots. I love to um, frame my shots with some objects that are present. Like it's funny you mentioned that because I posted a shot today of like a town near where I live,
Mm.
and I used like these flowers that I found to frame an island in the background. But everything was very, very colorful. So I still, like, I would say, I'm more these days. I do a lot more virtual photography than in real life photography. But I still like to do both. It's just that my current phone, is not particularly good for photography. So until I upgrade that one, it's probably gonna be not as much as VP, but I still love to do that whenever I see something that I think could be interesting. Definitely.
And Ari, what about a question for Kath?
Oh yes, I do have it indeed. I know that you're very passionate about horror games, but I was curious to see how was your love for horror games born in the first place? Like, what got you to say, "Oh, okay, this is really a genre I appreciate."
The horror games. Okay, fine. When I was 7 years old, I was bored. I was sitting in the library and I found a book about vampires. It was a Bram Stoker. That's how I fell in love.
Oh,
I'm not
nice.
joking. It is what it is.
Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah. Yeah. Then I was just trying to find something similar. I discovered Lovecraft really later, maybe like when I was a teenager or something. But yeah, I really like that these kind of stories that makes you feel somewhat, I don't know,
Like uneasy.
frightened. Yeah,
Yeah.
uneasy, tense.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have really good imagination, and I'm actually, if you ever listen to Mike Flanagan, the man who is creating a lot of horror movies and horror TV shows right now, and he's like, how did I start it? I was a kid who was afraid of everything, and I started to do to make those videos, those shows, those horror movies to be less scared of.
Mm.
I probably was the same because, yeah, as I said, I had really big imagination, like huge. So I could see stuff that probably people not seen, and there is no one. I'm like, no, there's something is.
Right.
It's not like a monster under my bed, but
Mm-hmm.
something like, in the shadow. They are watching me. Like
Mm-hmm.
they have she have a huge imagination. So yeah, and then later when I was able to play some games, I was just like falling in love because it was my first horror game was Fatal Frame, if you know that one.
Mm.
Don't think I've heard
Yeah,
about that one.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
yeah. It's a Japanese game, and I think it's now on Steam, like a remake or something like, because I seen that, and I actually seen some virtual photographers that was making a shots from it. I think it was compo art, but I'm not sure. I need to check it. But yeah, it was a game about the girl with a photo camera that is taking pictures of the ghost, and then they
Yeah.
disappeared. And I was like, oh my god, it's all related to me because
I love that game. I've never had the courage to play myself. I couldn't find a version.
yeah,
I've seen like Let's Streamers play it.
Mm.
It's so
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, then I discovered Silent Hill that I fall in love with and
Mm.
everything, and yeah, gets it's even worse. So
Right.
I so basically when I remember when Jim was making the page or just like asking for people to help him with the page, I'm just like coming there was like, hello, I'm self-claimed horror queen. I can help you.
Self-proclaimed horror queen. Oh man, that's
Yes,
funny.
it is, and he's like, okay, sure.
Well, hey, that's an origin story for you. I
So
do
then,
have one final question for the both of you, considering we are coming about to the end of our show. So, with photo modes being both in indie games and AAA titles and everything in between, right? Um, in what ways do you believe, or if you think they shouldn't, do or don't, whatever, uh, do you think that like AAA studios and such can learn from indie games when it comes to creating a photo mode? Do you think there's anything they can learn, anything that you may have noticed that has kind of been a translation from something that you saw in an indie game to something within one of the bigger titles, anything of the sort? We'll go ahead and start with Ria.
I feel, if I gotta be honest, I feel like I haven't played enough indie game to say,
Okay.
Statistically,
Yeah, no,
if
it
they
doesn't have
have.
to be.
But if,
Yeah. Just from what
if I'm,
what you think they may be able to learn from something that you have noticed in indie games versus like the AAA titles.
but sometimes I'm of the I'm a firm believer that sometimes less is more.
Okay. Yeah.
But sometimes overcomplicating things could lead to more issues. Well, in particular, close to release when it comes to bugs and everything like that. But
Right.
in general, I think sometimes keeping things, if not necessarily scarce, where there are far too few things in a photo mode, at least keeping things where like it's intuitive. I think that is something that indie games nail really well. Like they keep it intuitive. Someone could have literally not played any game in their life,
Hmm.
and with a little bit of patience, they can figure out how to use a simple photo mode. Well, if you go towards like extremely complicated photo modes in AAA games, I do feel like maybe it does require, for someone that's new to gaming to have to go and Google it or like find tutorials on how to use certain things. So I do think simplicity could be, a good thing to keep in mind. I'm not saying to not put anything in the photo mode, but put
Right.
it intuitive.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So
Don't
just
put the
kind
bells
of
and whistles just to, you can put the bells and whistles. Actually have
right.
Right, still,
intention.
still put the bells and whistles, but like make sure that people that don't want to use it can still figure out how to use the basics.
Hmm.
Right. Right. Kind of making it maybe more of a streamlined thing for them to understand a bit. I get that.
Yeah, so that way it's like easily accessible to people with different level of experience. Like even just maybe like the way that the formats, the way that the windows are divided, just to make it in a way that like the basics are under a certain section, and then you go towards more advanced things. So I think that could be beneficial for the wider audience.
Okay. Yeah. And Kath, how about you?
I feel that not a triple A learning from indie. It's indie that learning from triple A.
Sure.
And it's amazing because there is like a few games like indie games that started without photo mode, and they see how people included using tools to make pictures from their game, and they're like, oh, let's add photo mode, like maybe in other patch or like in one after patch, but let's do it. If you ever heard about the game, the Ascent,
Yeah, the Ascent. Mm-hmm.
yeah, Ascent, they doesn't had photo mode on the start, but like in mm, something between like to half of the year to 9 months, they added one. It's a simple one, but they learned that they can attract more people to their story with a photo mode, because yeah, we are obsessed. We are
Right.
really obsessed. And the games, like when you have a budget cyberpunk with a good photo mode, I mean, I'm not saying like very good photo mode, but like photo mode, yes, you will be attracted to that game and you want to spend your time in that. Same for deliver as Mars. When I started the game, there was no photo mode.
Okay.
Uh,
Gotcha.
but right now, guys added it and they really listen to it. Same for, I don't know, some other games that I also know that there was no photo mode on release, but they are listening to their audience. I mean, I will not call Banishers in the game, but we all was walking around and complaining about field of view, and they gave us what we actually needed and what we are wanted from
Mhm.
them. So this is amazing. Same going for other stuff. And about like learning from their big brothers, Flintlock on the start, on the beginning, on the demo, give us free range camera. That Fade and Skies that I mentioned, it also have free cam. You can have the orbital one, but you can have a free cam as well, because there is amazing views and there is amazing vistas that some people will be really enjoying to take. I was really surprised when I was starting to play Talos Principle too, because I was just a fan of the first game, and when my friend said there will be like a second game, I was like, oh, I need to try it. And then I was just open it and I see the photo mode and I was like, wait, what? And I actually still stumbled, and people was like, oh, you will see the Ghost of Tsushima photo mode, you will be so happy about it. I was like, yeah, I like it, but you know what? I love my Talos Principle photo mode a lot, because you can do the same stuff like you can do in AAA games. You can change your 1K robots into all the inhabitants this world. Basically, you can change their poses, you can change their emotions. You have a free range that you can do shots like a drone shots, for example, something. And they are not a AAA games. I checked. I fucking checked.
Right.
So yeah, they are learning, because depending on the budget, yes, depending on the budget, they might give us something smaller. Background noises, but they still give us photo modes that we are love it, and if they are listening to the audience, they will try to fix it, or if they can't fix it, well, still. So it's a really good thing.
All right. Well, yeah, no, those are both awesome answers. Well, that was honestly way faster than I thought it would go.
Yeah, I was like, we started. Oh wait, oh man, we need to wrap up soon.
Yeah, like it was pretty much done.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, it was an awesome conversation all about indie games and virtual photography. But we definitely appreciate both of you guys coming onto the show today. Thank you for, talking about all your experience in regards to indie virtual photography and everything that you guys have done regarding the community. We thank you for that as well. And yeah, no, this has been a great conversation. Are there any final thoughts from either of you or N7?
I'll let those two do it, and I'll do my final thoughts.
Well, yeah. Ria, we'll start with you. Any final thoughts?
I knew you were gonna say that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was
Gotcha.
just thinking, I might have a second to think about something.
Oh, okay. So you want to go ahead and phone a friend?
Yeah, I'll get the help from home. Thank you.
All right. So, Kath, do you have any final thoughts on the episode?
I mean, indie games. When he was proposing to talk about indie games, I was like, yes, I will bring it to the people. Because usually, oh my god, this is very loud car outside. I'm sorry. So,
You're fine.
because usually, like when you are going on your timeline and you're scrolling down, and you're just like, all right, what we have today? All AAA game like Last of Us, Alloy, Spider-Man. I'm sorry. I don't know, some other games, and you're like, oh, and then someone just like posting something like, I don't know, Alone in the Dark, and you're like, oh, give it to me, please. It's something new. Like, I remember that half of indie games that I really love right now, and I was finding through the Twitter, there was one guy who was so much into indie games. I'm not sure he's on Twitter still, but all the new games that he was like playing and posting and talking about it, or just like taking pictures in it, and I was like, I need to try it because I trust this guy. I really trust this, and he enjoyed the story and he enjoyed the views, and it's actually really good. Sometimes you know what is my preference in indie games? They are short, but they have very intense and interesting story behind it. Even if it's a story of one of that is trying to find her cups, like literally, you then you doing this journey with her and you just finding some new stuff about the world, about your feeling, or just like how she's struggling to finding the cups. It's a huge metaphor, and when you're realizing that it's not a game about the plot, it's a huge metaphor, and you're like, oh, if you ever played Journey, uh,
Oh, it's such a good game.
Journey is a very good game.
you know, I played solo, and it has a bit different impact on me than when I was playing it with a random guy who was joining me on the Epic Store. I don't even know who. For 5 minutes, I was
Randall
thinking that
Banandle.
I was thinking that my game is glitching because there was something that there's running around and just making noises, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with my game? And then I realized then that no, this is the second player, and since I know the game, I was showing him these collectibles that you need. And then when you go through story and you go to some specific moment at the end, you know, I was literally started to cry because when you play it alone and you doesn't have the second person with you, you're feeling it a bit different. But it was so fucking like a massive impact on me that like you know that in that situation when you got to a certain point, you're not alone. You are with someone. You will have your happy ending. That's someone who is random and you don't even know them, but it's it it's amazing. It's really amazing, and that's why I really love indie games because they make you think, they make you feel. Some games will help in with your depression. Like Greece really helped me back then with my depression was I when I was in it. It's just like a simple watercolor story, but it has such huge story and huge background. So yeah, yeah. If you need, just like very late thought, if you need advice, just poke me on the Twitter. I will give you some games that I really like, and some of them have in the full, so you can experience the games in the fullest. Yeah, that's
Awesome.
all. Sorry.
Awesome. Gotcha. Yeah. No, those are.
I finally, my brain is working, by the way.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Well, perfect timing.
I just wanted to say
over to you.
one thing.
Yeah.
That, you know, when I started fairly recently compared to, you know, the three of you. And I want to say that it's nice that you guys, well, it's almost been a year now. It still hasn't been a year. So it's still fairly recently. But, you know, when I started, I think I didn't even really know the concept of indie game because majority of people that I was seeing was posting photo from AAA titles.
Right.
So, you know, it's nice to start to finally see the indie games getting some love. And, you know, it was nice to hear, especially Kath, that has plenty of experience with indie games and everything. Because at the end of the day, there are so many good stories out there that, you know, if we were to wait for them to arrive to a AAA company, they might not see the light of day. So it's definitely great that companies are managing to stay afloat and still put out these titles with like a lot of great narrative behind them.
Right. Solid answers. Man, y'all just been freaking doing it today. Good Lord. I love both of those answers. And N7, any final thoughts?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you two, for coming onto the show. As always, it's been fun. I think, I'm going to be honest with you, I think we could easily do another hour and a half of talking about this.
Yeah.
I'm going to be
yeah.
honest
Yeah,
with you. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, we had to cut it short. But it's more of a announcement to everyone who's listening and all that is the way Pixel Focus was created was through a charity drive through St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And Son was like, hey, I was like, hey, I need a block to be filled. And Son was like, yeah, I got a friend. He was in virtual photography. It's gaming related, but we did virtual photography. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, you can have that. And that was the most successful block in the marathon, and we did it again. And then that, I was like, wait a second, I'm seeing a pattern, and that's what created Pixel Focus. So coming back full circle is that the first Saturday of August, there's going to be another marathon, and Pixel Focus will be part of it. So it's more of just a heads out there. So we got a few weeks to prep and all that, but yeah, marathon for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, first Saturday of August. So put that
Go
on
to
your calendar.
kids.
Yeah.
Go to kids.
Yeah, but we'll
Right.
definitely give more details. We'll be posting on the Pixel Focus Twitter and all that fun stuff, but it's just more of a little bug in the ear just to say, hey, what's going on and all that. So
So stay tuned with your doubloons, I guess. And if you'd like, you can donate those doubloons to a great cause once we start it.
yeah.
Once we start the marathon. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. And we are going to also send out another survey for all of you guys who are listeners on the podcast. So you guys can give us your thoughts on feedback and everything of what you believe, you like about the show, what you dislike about the show. If you think that the whole buff neck thing is weird, because if you do think the whole buff neck thing is weird, the whole situation with your neck is probably not that great, and you probably should be working it out so that you can be able to get those verticals done right.
I like
I'm just
cheese.
saying. I'm just saying. Yeah. Oh. Okay. So for anybody who doesn't understand, I like cheese. I'm not even gonna explain it. Just understand it.
I like brains.
Trains are cool too. Yeah, no, but anyway, I also want to thank Ria and Kath. I want to thank both of you guys for joining us today on Pixel Focus Podcast, episode 25, where we give you insights and updates on everything virtual photography. Thank you so much for all of those who are listening in, and we are out.
Bye.
See
Bye.
ya.